This video is brought to you by TraderTours.com/golf. We are about to look at a +6 handicap golf swing. This video will reveal that swing momentarily, talk about this particular player, and reflect on the thought-provoking golf index system. So without further ado, let's take a look at the swing. Here are a couple of swings of Jordan Nieberge, who I calculated at a +6 handicap prior to him turning professional in 2016. Jordan did some things as an amateur that were truly unprecedented. Now, I can personally attest to his skill because he played in the same tournament that I did several years ago in Madison. He was in the group in front of me, and as my group would approach the tee box, we would watch him tee off. And I can tell you that watching a 17-year-old kid consistently fly the ball 315 yards in the air, especially in rainy conditions, was pretty surreal. Now later that very summer, Jordan just turned 18 years old and won the Wisconsin State Open. And what I did here is analyze the records of each winner going back to the year of 1919. That is over 100 years of data, and in all of those years, nobody other than Jordan won the State Open at that young of an age, not even Steve Stricker, who is Wisconsin's most successful golfer, having accumulated over $40 million in career earnings. Now, given that Jordan had an amateur status with a full ride to Oklahoma State at the time, regulations would not allow him to claim the prize money of roughly $10,000. After continuing an excellent run of success while playing at Oklahoma State and dominating amateur tournaments between the years of 2012 and 2014, he was invited to play in the 2015 Open Championship at St. Andrews, which of course is one of the 4 major championships on the PGA Tour. Jordan shot 11 under par, the lowest total score that an amateur has ever shot in the history of this tournament. Overall, he finished tied for 6th place, surpassing several of the best players in the world, such as Dustin Johnson, Brooks Koepka, Adam Scott, Phil Mickelson, amongst others. But because of his status as a collegiate player at Oklahoma, whilst competing as an amateur, he again could not collect on what would have been a payday of approximately $300,000. In more recent years, Jordan has been playing in tournaments on the Korn Ferry Tour, formerly known as the Web.com Tour. Now, I know that players who have competed in PGA events typically don't log a handicap, but I wanted to show you that it can still be calculated by using the USGA Formula. Alright, so let's take a look at the unique world of the United States Golf Association and see how they calculate the handicap. So we're going to do it manually. You can certainly go to Google and there's calculators. People that are country club members, there's a computer system, but this is how it's calculated. So, number one, first, you have to play 20 rounds of golf, okay? 18 holes per round. You have to play 20 rounds, and you're going to want to save the scorecards. Second, you're going to apply the formula here. You take the adjusted gross score, subtract the course rating, multiply that number by 113, and then divide by the actual course slope. If you're wondering what the heck each of these items mean, I have some yellow arrows going down that explains what it is. For instance, the adjusted gross score. In simple terms, that's what you shot. 18 holes. Did you score an 85? Did you shoot a 73? Did you shoot 100? Now, the USGA system does provide some latitude. They generally will cap a blow-up hole. For instance, if you made a 13 on a par 5, they'll probably cap it at an 8 or a 7, depending on if you have an existing handicap. But anyway, the course rating, important stuff here. It's right on the scorecard. But what it is, it represents the difficulty of the course in relation to par for a scratch golfer. Scratch golfer is a 0 handicap. So the course rating may very well, and it often is, different than par. Now, 113 is the standard USGA course slope. And this serves as a gauge to measure the difference in course difficulty for a bogey golfer, meaning somebody who shoots 90, versus a scratch golfer. Again, assuming the course rating is 72, a scratch golfer with a handicap of 0, that would indicate that on a particularly good day, that scratch golfer could probably shoot par. And then there's a rise over run formula. We're not going to get into that. The actual course slope, again, that's right on your scorecard. All you have to do is look on the scorecard to determine the actual slope that you played. Plug all this in, and let's look at the next step here as an example. Alright, so the example that I'm using is Pebble Beach because these are the official numbers as to how it played during the 2019 US Open. We have the course rating and the slope. Par is 71 in this case. So suppose you played Pebble Beach and shot an 82. That would be a heck of a golf score. Way better than the average golfer anyways. Remember, the average golfer averages 100, and these conditions would be substantially harder. Just once again, look at that course rating. So, okay. Before I plug this in and do the math, which, it's not that complex, but I wanted to make a comment. If par is 71, a lot of people are tempted to take the shortcut. They say, all right, well, 82, that's 11 over par, so isn't it fair to say that my handicap was 11 for that particular day? The answer is no. If you are going to try and take a shortcut, it's not going to be accurate, but it would be a lot more accurate to go off of the rating. So if we call this rating 76, knowing that we shot 82, 82 minus 76 is 6, so you might expect your differential or handicap to be 6 for this particular round. And when we do the math, we're going to see that that's not the exact number, but it's kind of close. So anyway, adjusted gross score, we actually shot an 82. We are subtracting 75.9 because I'm pulling that right from the scorecard here. That's the rating. Multiplying that by 113, once again, that is a fixed number. It does not change. That's the standard USGA slope, just to reiterate. And we're dividing that whole thing by 148. Where did the 148 come from? That is the slope right off of the scorecard. By the way, that's an extremely high slope. I believe slopes max out at 155. So in other words, this course would probably be a nightmare for a bogey golfer. In terms of difficulty, I'm sure they would enjoy it, the scenery. But anyway, okay, the math is 4.7. That is your handicap, which is a synonym for differential for this particular round. Remember, we need a sample size of 20. So once you have 20 rounds, you take the best 8 out of 20. So there's some latitude or leeway that's provided here. You take the best 8 out of 20. You're going to toss away 12 of the worst scores, and then take the mean or the average of those 8 rounds, or differentials I should say, and multiply it by 0.96. Why 0.96? Ask the USGA. It's a bonus for excellence thing. And, that's going to hardly alter the figure. The bigger the number, obviously, when you multiply it by 0.96, will change it more. And some sources actually ignore this final step. So anyways, there you go. Congratulations, you now have arrived at your official handicap. My thoughts. All right. I hear this all the time. People say your handicap is your potential. I totally disagree. It is a ballpark measurement of how you might expect to score on a particularly good day relative to the course rating. Again, your handicap is the average of the best 8 differentials calculated out of your most recent 20 rounds. So the reason why I don't think it's your potential Suppose you shoot 20 rounds of golf. On the 21st round, it's certainly possible you could shoot a score better than what you've achieved in the last 20. I know it's not super probable, but it absolutely could happen. And also remember that the handicap is the average of the best 8 differentials. So that means out of those 8 good rounds, there still are, a couple or a few rounds that you shot within that sample size of 20 that are going to be lower than your handicap. So that's why I don't think it's really your potential. All right, wrapping this video up, to show you what some of these monster courses look like out on tour, and getting back to this Jordan Nieberge case. So the slopes are pretty much always 140 or higher, and you can see the ratings are generally between 74 and 78, give or take. So I tried to dig up some of his official scores, and he wasn't always outplaying Medina from the tips, but again, you can just go to use, after all that manual math, you can go to Google and use a cheat calculator that will get you close. But I tried to use a lot of his actual scores and estimate, and I arrived at a handicap of +6. I know it says minus, but this is +6. So based on his scores, I plugged in some slopes. We can see we have a slope of 150, and the ratings are generally in between that 74 and 78 range. So anyways, no disrespect to him, a phenomenal talent, but the reality is these scores, some of them that I pulled from were when he was playing as an amateur, and I think that he was playing better golf, quite honestly, during his amateur years. Senior year of high school to when he graduated from college, 2011 to 2015, that's when he had the top 10 finish at a major. That's when he was dominating, and now he is on the Korn Ferry Tour, and I certainly wish him the best of luck and would like to see him win some. So, all right, thanks for watching.